Okay. My laptop is having some technology issue right now.
It's not what the.
Just give you one moment. It's not responding. My laptop. Yeah. This is one kind of tech drama I mentioned.
Have you ever had a Google Doc? But like somebody sent me plans, Google and Google them, and I open it up and like one of the layers isn't there, like some of the writing, but it's there in that email. As soon as I download it, or if I there's no. You're fixed, you know, and you're not happy. You're HP.
Whoever's doing plans should flatten first.
Go back and flatten.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes we have landscape designers who are prefer like $500. And yeah,
Well, he's a relatively, he works for Ed Love, it's Andrew that. Nice guy, you know Andrew.
He sends you big files.
We send me files for, yeah, Java.
Wow.
Had a couple of them, but yeah, but they're, you know, and I'm working Apple, but Google Docs is Google Docs. You know, shouldn't be when I'm looking at it in the mail and I got everything, but if I try to print it, or when I print it, there'll be whole blocks of notes not there, even a couple of pages aren't even there. So I
yeah,
can't
if
figure
you're
it out.
flattened, it should help. Because often I'm working in Bluebeam, just like
Oh, Bluebeam.
favorite graphics. And if you don't flatten and you open it in Google or Adobe, and they'll just throw stuff out.
The shame is that my son is art faculty. He oh, Glenn should be sitting right there.
Yeah.
Give me one moment.
No, it's making, I thought you'd probably have to take the hot seat.
Yeah.
Why
Like
can't
an
we-
exit interview in front of CDRC. Yeah.
We want an exit interview anyway.
Okay, give me one moment here. This one is giving me some trouble. It's my last one, so come on. Okay, so this meeting is being audio recorded. Welcome to San Mateo County Coastside Design Review Committee meeting. The Design Review Committee, as established in the zoning regulations, is appointed by the Board of Supervisors. Today is Thursday, July 11th, 2024, and now it's 1:39 p.m. This hearing consists of one project only. For better recording quality and orderliness of this meeting, please put your phone on silence. Avoid extra chatting or whispering in the audience and wait for my prompt before you speak on any matter. This meeting is being audio recorded. There are 2 opportunities for the public to speak, including the oral communications for matters not on the agenda and then separate comment session for each project on the agenda. Please review the agenda to identify which project you would like to speak on and the time of that item. For fairness of this meeting, please limit your speech to 3 minutes or less. This will be strictly enforced, and you will be respectfully asked to stop speaking after 3 minutes. The chair will open the public comment sessions during the public comment period for oral communications for items not on the agenda and for each item on the regular agenda. I'll first read comments received before the meeting into the record for those who are not present in this meeting. For those attending this meeting in person, speaker forms are available in the tray on the rear wall. Please fill out the speaker form and provide it to me before each public comment session. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak on an agenda item. For those joining by phone, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. Please provide your speaker form, raise your hand, or press *9 on device before each public comment session. And late speaker requests will not be accepted. Please note that members of the public must wait for my prompt in connection with each agenda item before speaking. Also, you cannot speak on an agenda item that's later in this meeting. When you hear name or last four digits of your phone number called, I'll prompt you to come to the front or unmute your account, then inform that you may begin speaking. I will then ask you to state your. I will ask you to state your name for the record. The design review committee's decision for item 1 today, if any, will be a recommendation regarding the project compliance and not the final decision on the project. The decision of which will take place at later date. The CDRC does not review matters related to zoning standards, local coastal policies, and general plan. It will only review projects based on the design review guidelines and standards. Depending on scale and scope of changes, continued projects may be placed on the next month's agenda. If revisions are submitted to the county by the end of business day, Friday, July 19th, 2024. Applicants should note that continuous letters may not be available by that day and are encouraged to take note of the committee's feedback. The next design review committee meeting will be held on Thursday, August 8th, 2024. And the next is the roll call. Mark Stackmeyer.
Here.
John Stedman, not present. Julia Martinez, not present. April Bingham, not present. Moshe Porter.
Here.
Mark Dean.
Here.
James Bennington, not present. Okay, so with that, I turn it over to the chair.
Hello, welcome back. Sorry that, I'm pretty amazed that there wasn't anything for last month, and there's one returning this month. What do you see going forward?
Going forward, we do have a few projects in the pipeline, including like some returning projects and some new projects. But this week our agenda is pretty light, but next week I would anticipate at least 2 projects, but it's too early to say that. And Camille and Luis will update the CRC accordingly.
But you don't see floods of people come, how's the lobby doing? Is it not really?
Yeah, we still get inquiries, a lot of inquiries at the counter, but we don't see any obvious changes just from.
Maybe some delay review, delays by particular review agencies.
Yeah, they're
That could
like
be
some.
holding some projects.
Oh,
DPW's taking
This one's
to
been
complete the reviews, so they're having.
in already.
Back.
This project has come through already.
Yeah.
Do you know where I can find old ones?
The old plans, if you go to the July 13th, 2023 CDRC meeting, you'll be able to find that. I can send a link to you later if you can't find. And I'm just trying to open up this chair report for Mark.
Sorry, that was me starting the chair report. So I kind of want to start putting this comment near, like, right just before we start this meeting. The Coastside Design Review Committee is held. It's not it. That's yours. Coastside Design Review Committee, CDRC, is appointed by the Board of Supervisors to ensure that new developments are compatible with the physical setting, site, and visual character of the neighborhood, and provide platform for neighborhood residents to communicate their concerns to the community of Mateo Beach, of Granada, Miramar, and Princeton. This can be. I have the agenda and the video link. Linked onto this page, but I had a comment, and we haven't really experienced it yet, a little bit last time, and I wanted to throw it out there. Where you say in person with or remote on the front page, in person and remote, participation is available, and I don't mind that people can watch it, but I think that in the future we're going to have some issues with people just, not coming, but wanting to blah, blah, blah on the screen, and stuff. And when they're sitting at home, like, and doing whatever they want, they can carry on. We had a little bit with one of my clients, but the Bobak was just like jumping in and saying whatever. I feel like if they want to, if gonna participate in the thing, they should come. Is my point. So I don't know how you feel about that, but.
For the applicant.
Yeah, for applicants or for people that want to speak. I mean, if it's, I understand if it's some old lady that can't get here or something like that. She says, "I just want to have one thing," but we should, our guard should be aware of that, you know, like just, to me, it just seems like I was just reading over it this morning. I thought, it's kind of weird, like we can't do that, but they can do it, so. And it has become an issue, but like I said, with this Bakari, who's a nice guy, but he was even interrupted you, and so people would, he's a good guy. I mean, I'm probably doing his house and stuff, but he was one of those guys that was talking over people on the screen. Not terribly, but
We have people doing that in person.
yeah, that's true.
I think it's just crowd control maybe a little bit,
Yeah.
and then,
Yeah, silence.
we have planners over the hill that, would participate, you know, remotely.
Right,
Because it takes time to come over the hill, and just from a participation and accessibility standpoint, I think the hybrid model. You know, people have to work during the day, because meetings during the day, so this allows them to participate where they're at.
I think.
Yeah. So, I think it helps the accessibility, meeting accessibility.
Yeah, and also planners or like the DROs we have, we can control like the participants. We can just kind of mute them when they're like not following the public participation rules. We can just mute their account. They don't have to just do things like raising their hands or press like certain number of their phone in order to be,
That's true.
yeah, in order to talk. So yeah.
The difference in that case was it was a applicant or something who's, yeah, right, like who's.
He was
who's part
remote
of the
and his,
project.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, like usually public comments are, you're pretty formal about unmuting them so they can talk for 2-3 minutes, right?
Okay,
Like
yeah,
Trump.
yeah. We can keep that in mind.
Who did
And,
stop?
Yeah, we can keep that in mind and see if we can kind of improve like the facilitation methods we're
It
using.
was, I didn't know what else to say during.
Yeah.
So.
You can get a gavel.
You get a gavel. I have.
Yeah, so that's something Luis can worry about.
Yeah. So
But it
we
might go
have
both ways.
demonstration of, no, that's, what did you say?
But it can go both ways too. They can use the gavel on us.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody, really, there hasn't been anything serious since we've come back. And actually, it always feels like it's dwindling down to zero. The only thing I brought up last time is that we try to, and I'm gonna be guilty of this time, is I didn't make sure that measures are taken that when the returning applicant addresses the concerns that were posed and why they left, or why they're returning each and every one to the satisfaction. We don't have, I think I might have been, was I the representative on this one for El Granada?
Yeah, I remember.
Last year.
Yeah, you were the representative on this one.
It was just
And what,
me and
yeah.
Rebecca.
Yeah, must be you and Rebecca. I'm not 100% sure who the member architect was, but you were the representative for this.
And then, so I have his thing and the responses and pretty well, but I think that that's important for them. And then not to elaborate, I think, right? We send them away with their list, and when they come back, there's no more elaborations on any further discussion regarding the project.
Well, the letter of continuance that you issued, I know it sounds like we shouldn't get that in advance of this meeting, but that's
so
something
that should happen.
that we, I know we don't post that for public consumption, but you know, in terms of review, it seems like it would be very useful for the.
It's usually part of the package when the
Yeah, right.
when it
But this
comes back
time,
for
yeah,
the second.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
And
it's usually part of
It
the
is?
package.
it's usually part of it. If it's not, then it's
That's the standard.
okay.
Should-
Okay, so it is public, it's posted, it's.
Yeah, it's not posted at the time, you know, on the first meeting
Yeah.
page, but it's posted in my email.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's pretty standard, but yeah, so we can keep in mind and thank you
This
for
is
that
what you
reminder.
use to go down, you know,
Yeah, like.
when
it's
you
been-
review, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we'll start doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't see them. I thought I had all the links.
I mean, you can go back to the July archive.
Well, they have, yeah, they have the archives are.
It just shows the previous plan version, but not the reasons that were called out.
Oh, no, well, that's right, they can, where can you report, oh, you just talked about that. Like the report that's written up,
Yeah, they said that they'll post that.
oh,
So,
so we should ask.
but you can probably share your paper copy with motioning.
Alright. One, but yeah, well, here, I'll just read it.
It'll be a quick-
Okay, well, actually, this is a little bit more than that, because we met, not privately, but with Glenn, trying to discuss some of the items that he, so I think mine are in red. Or his are in blue. So what he was asking, what we were deciding on, and then I don't. Yeah, it is. I cannot recommend, yeah, so I'm red. Yeah. That was done a few months ago. I don't see the archive pages, but I'll find it later.
Yeah, I can find it for the CDRC.
Yeah, I used to have it on a link on my desktop. See this,
I'll shoot them.
okay.
Yeah, so, oh, you're gonna shoot the link? Yeah, it's right here.
And positions still, I mean, I don't know. I'm still always, there's a guy maybe coming up here for, that just talked me out the street that is maybe interested in joining. But we have, El Granada's got 2 people already. El Granada,
El Granada is
no,
open.
nobody. Oh,
Yeah, I think Elgin is the most open. But hold on.
I mean, I assume he's from, because he walked here. But. And I don't know if he's here to. Come in, he said Friday at the first day. That's why I'm bringing up that, did we get that through? We can't expand on what we sent them away with, right? Like when they come in
Yeah.
and say, well, unless they change something not good, I mean, like.
Yeah,
Like, we don't like this window either. We didn't say that.
yeah, so for continued projects, we review the project primarily based on the continuous comments, but if they're doing like extensive redesign, that may just result in like additional comments that can be appropriate if they're just doing like major redesign. That way we can come up with additional comments. So it depends, but in most cases, we should just try to rely on the previous continuous letter.
So somebody. And then, or the comments that are though. You got one comment on this today,
Yes.
and
Wait,
it's a good suggestion.
we should save our project related comments.
Yeah, it was more about the protocol, or procedure. And to Glenn, thank you for undertaking the thankless responsibility of CRDC here. The design,
DRO, design review.
DRO. You made a seamless change for us back in the remote, from personal to, in person to, I should read what I have instead of trying to get it, from, remote to, yeah, to personal. That was really great. You did a great job. And always have technical advantage of everything, getting this all work. I know you had some problems, but you saw to it that everything was in proper order, filed and reported. Your quiet, authoritarian presence was always respected, and your accomplishments countless. Thank you for your time with us, and will be sorely missed by me and the public.
Thank you.
So we'll just say that, Glenn's last day with county is tomorrow. He's been here approximately
3 years and a month.
3 years and a month, and we're losing him to more exciting planning opportunities in Southern California, Long Beach in particular, Port in particular. But we wish him well. It sounds very exciting. As a young planner, I think it will be an amazing experience. But you've done a great job.
Thank you.
Your personality is like so warm, and you're organized and you're a good communicator with emails, you're timely. It was just, like Mark was saying, seamless transition. It was very difficult getting all the tech set up, just constantly pivoting technology wise and procedure wise during the pandemic. But it ran very smoothly, and we've had transition to CDRC, but some members, but staff was very steady, and that also helped. So,
Thank you.
Thank you for all your years of service.
Thank you, Camille. Yeah, I
Is it
can.
about the money?
Huh? Oh, definitely not the money.
No, did you? have-
Here's better. Here's better.
Here's better.
It's about the same, but here's better.
And did you already find a place? Huh?
Yeah, long story. Long story. I told Camille about it. Yeah, so I really enjoy working with the CRC, and CRC just doing great. And now, CRC just not a platform to review a project, but also a platform that allows like collaboration between county staff and like all the stakeholders. Yeah, CRC has been used like a platform that the county used to reach like the Coastside residents. Yeah, in many situations. Yeah, and I know the CRC members. You guys are mostly kind of like volunteers, and you're serving your own community. You're making positive impact on the community by like kind of regulating like development patterns and everything here, like regarding design review. So I always have deep respect toward you guys, and it's being like very important for this community. Yeah, so I'm leaving the county after serving the this area for like about 2.5 years, I guess. Time flew, and so I'm not worried about the future of this committee, since we have our key members still here, and we have our leadership from the county management and also from community directly. And we also have a talented and a reliable planner on reserve, Luis. So so I think we have a bright future here, and thank you for all the work CRC has been doing. I always like I just very respect like what you're doing here. That's amazing. You use your own personal time and just contribute back to your own community. I love that. Thank you so much.
Sounds like you jumped right in. You jumped right into this. We've been there 3 years and a month, and you've been here for 2 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah, like I started like 6 months after I started.
Yeah.
You had worked with a committee, a public committee at his previous jurisdiction.
It's
You
kind
dealt
of
with, like agendas and.
it's different. It's like more casual. This is a Brown Act body, but the previous jurisdiction I worked for was Santa Clara County. I was hosting the regional roundtable. It's more casual. It's like kind of discussion and conversation between government officials and local architects and developers, just to share information with them. So it's kind of like a I would say kind of like conversational type of meetings.
Yeah.
Doesn't involve any decisions. So, but this just gave me very good experience because it's a Brown Act body, involves decisions, working with professionals from different backgrounds. So it's definitely valuable and helped me got my new job.
Yeah, you got to see. I mean, the guy that I just met on the street was sad that you were leaving. Like, really?
Oh,
I mean, somebody that wants to join the committee.
okay.
Neil Curtis, I think is his name. He's gonna.
Oh, I think there's some,
Yeah, maybe he works down
Yeah, Clinton, is it Miles Clinton or Clinton Miles?
Clinton Mounds.
He was appointed, but I don't think he ever swore in. I don't think he ever took his oath. He hasn't been.
His mother-in-law came very close to death and moved in with her, or moved in with them. And I'm not sure. I just keep prodding him.
Oh, good.
Because
Yes, please continue.
he's still a friend. I know him. And,
Is he still interested? Maybe just.
he's interested in making sure that his mother. I think she's not gonna. which is really good. I mean, she's so young.
So I guess we do have an open one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hope that.
So I think I told you about this.
But either
Since we
way, I
have
mean.
the three guys here.
Yeah.
Also have to come here, so.
Okay.
I just tell her,
Do you
they're
want to
here,
say anything else?
then you
about-
get paid.
I'll just check on, but just, but thanks for, you know, I guess my introduction to you was on the other side as a local resident, so I
Yeah.
know that process is fairly contentious project. But, thank you for, you know, your diligence working through it. I know that, you know, a lot of what you do is facilitating, it's not easy, it's a lot of, competing interests. Yeah, and a lot of, different stakeholders for to the process. And what I say is like the world's pretty small, so maybe we'll, you know, run into each other again. And
Yeah.
maybe you'll come work back at the county or work right in QC or some other planning organization.
Or maybe I'll move to Long Beach one.
Yeah, maybe I'll, yeah.
Yeah, please, it's booming there, so.
Probably not.
Yeah. Like I said, I will participate in some CDRC meetings, not here to just make trouble, but just to observe.
You should make sure.
You're around enough to make it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say about, Glenn, your company?
No, he's been bringing me up to speed, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think he has given me everything I need. I'm sure I'll have a lot of questions, so thank you in advance, Camille, for your help and for all of you for your patience with me.
Okay.
But I'll come up to speed quickly.
How long have you guys been, why is this such a surprise? Well, I
That's just
mean,
the usual notice, because, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it's usually 2 weeks,
Well-
so it's kind of like,
Maybe we didn't have a meeting.
we didn't have it, yeah, we couldn't say anything at the last meeting because it was,
There wasn't one.
put into place yet, yeah.
All right.
Oh, and there wasn't one, so there wasn't.
It wasn't.
Oh, there wasn't one, yeah.
But anyway, just wanted to say a little bit more about Luis. He's a very experienced planner. He's been working as a planner for at least how many years?
Since 2012.
2012. Okay, so he handles a lot of projects on the coast side as well as other large projects on the bay side. So he's been with us a couple years,
16 months now.
16 months.
Yeah.
So, but he's quickly coming up to speed. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you do great. You're very responsive, very responsible.
I must say, planning looks like, it's felt like it's coming together, building, well, they just got Raglan in, so maybe we had a meeting with him. Me and Ed and Sigmund Prime, and we kind of have a quarterly meeting with Steve. So we met him, and he seems pretty good, and I just talked to the inspector today, that's very grateful that he's there. One of the field stuff, so good job on the planning, I'm glad it's all,
Lucy,
like, they lost everybody.
have you been the project planner on any of the items of kind to, I think there's like a couple of design review committees in the county that have you,
Not yet. My first item for the CRC is going to actually be the following meeting.
oh, okay.
I'm glad it
Welcome
was
aboard.
everyone.
Thank you.
Except for when you'd have one.
Hmm?
But Glenn had almost every.
You had a lot of them.
Not everyone, but I had like, I would say 70%.
Yeah.
Yeah, around 70% of the project, I would say.
And that wasn't you, it's you, well, no, it's no.
Yeah.
So how many do you have planners do you
Sure. 20?
Yeah, 20, including like all the managers and supervisors. About like 19 or 20, I guess. Yeah.
have? It seems crowded.
Yeah, I'm
There's a lot of work still. I mean, I don't think it's slowing down.
You know?
I actually don't think it's slowing down.
Because this is slow. Yeah. When we used to have so many projects, we used to have 5, 6, 5.
Yeah, I could be slowing down like a little bit, but then there's also the amount of processing that's involved. A lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we need to look at it, but I don't see like a drastic reduction. I mean, even when other permits kind of dig down, design review keeps coming. Like every week we have new design review projects to assign.
So you're not seeing a volume or changing volume.
We might be in like, I mean, we might a little bit, but just the amount of processing and, you know, all of our planners are below this. So we don't yet feel like the relief, you know,
No.
that hasn't hit us yet.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't paying attention and somebody, the job slipped away from me. Well, got half. And all of a sudden we were standing there, and I was like, oh no. Like, I don't like to be stacked up with too many because it's, nobody likes you. Why aren't you here today? Somebody else is more important. Yeah, so we're just getting back into it. We got some good ones, and maybe Bill Box, but that's a really nice house, and I talked to one of the neighbors. That's your project.
So, It's
So no, that was, he referred to you a lot. One of the neighbors said that's all we asked for back when the other guys were trying to build those big houses. We asked for exactly what Bulldogs do. I'm sorry, it's not very clear. And the last. So, with that, I want to close, the chair report. Or no, I want to ask if there's any public comment.
You want to do the items not, our communication for not items not on agenda first? That will happen after we talk about the demonstration scale memo. Yeah, so, yeah,
well,
would you?
one little update.
Oh.
The counties, I don't know if I brought this to the CDRC before, maybe I did, last meeting. But we're working on making the design standards more objective because of Senate Bill 35, where affordable housing projects, you know, multi-unit
Yeah.
affordable housing projects can basically bypass a discretionary review process, just doing a ministerial, non-public review process until the county reaches its, builds all the housing it needs essentially. Yeah, exactly. So, as you know, our design standards are not as objective as they could be. But also wanted to let you know that the feedback that we've collected over many years with the CDRC is being considered, because by the time we take away all this kind of more subjective language, not left of a lot. Not left of a lot. So, anyway, I just wanted to thank the CDRC, many members who are no longer with the CDRC, but for the feedback over the past years about, making the standards more objective, also adding standards that they feel are needed, taking away things that are confusing, you know, things like that. I'm kind of looking back through all those comments and seeing if we can end up with a better set of standards, both for the purpose of SB 35, but also just moving forward. So we're taking a look at all those.
Last time I heard the SB 30 wasn't going to affect us over here for some time.
I think maybe you're thinking of SB 9.
Oh, yeah. Go over.
But SB 35 is late January 2025. So was a push.
More subjective, what does that mean?
No, more objective.
More,
So less like, we have a lot of language like should blend in with the existing community, buildings. Should minimize, you know, tree removal. Or it's just like, it's not a clear target. There isn't a clear target. There isn't like, when you have a ministerial process, it's basically a checklist process, complies, yes, no, doesn't comply. So you're looking at like more quantitative based standards.
And those would apply to everybody,
No, well,
including the projects that we're reviewing.
I'm hoping it will. They should, I mean, in general, I think we've heard complaints that the standards are too subjective or hard to apply, or sometimes we've heard it from Coastside, you know, that the standards
I
be
think that's,
clearer.
yeah.
So I think it would help everybody if the standards were more objective.
Are we part of the review process for the
Yes,
changes?
there will be a public process. So we're working on a draft right now, and it will go through its normal public process for new or updates to regulation.
Is this one that we already worked on once?
This is that you provided relevant feedback. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, as well as up to today, like it even includes your conversations about story.
So,
So it's kind of giving us feedback on the design of the ordinance as a whole. So we're building, I'm seeing where we can be responsive to those things as well as meet the objective. The goals of having more
is it,
objectives.
to me, is it gonna basically do away with this situation?
No.
Like, go ahead.
Sorry, do you have a target from?
Well, the SB 35 is going to be effective late January 2025. So we have not a lot of time.
Oh, so you have to get it done before.
We hope to. If not, we're hoping to at least have a draft objective standards for the implementation of SB 35 in late February. But seeing how it's gonna be slightly broader than just making our current objective standards objective, because I feel like there's a lot of gaps. And then once you take away all the subjective, you're not.
At the same time, it hasn't been my recollection that a lot has been turned down. It's typically been, projects have been approved and passed through, so. And just wondering if, making this more objective, like if the goal there is to increase the number of projects that get approved, if that's really gonna, or is it really kind of?
No, I think the goal is really the state prohibits municipalities from applying standards that are not objective. They're legally unenforceable for SB 35. So we want, instead of having very few standards that are objective, and so then those projects would be subject to very few standards. Our goal is to bring the standards, kind of translate the current standards to a more objective standard and add where there could be gaps. Especially because we know that there's gaps relative to higher density housing. Because most of all the standards apply to single family, exactly. So it's gonna be interesting.
So, yeah, I think it's just so we don't get like a, well, you're gonna eat this stucco monster. Out of nowhere, so we didn't have oversight on it.
Yeah, I mean, just because, I mean, there is so much, like the low income housing just gets passed and that is, the 80.
And it can be pretty. It's just, it's
Tell me, it just makes sure it's pretty.
So you have like not only the Big Pen project, but also that building in Boston. So those are very difficult to apply the standards to, because they don't, it's just, so we're picking out things like facade articulation, but the majority of the standards. Okay, let's,
Yeah,
okay.
so yeah, more to come.
For public review process.
Yeah,
Okay, it'd be a very abbreviated public review process, like given that you're trying to come up with a draft before that.
well, we don't wanna, rob the public of the opportunity to provide comment. So, with this community, I doubt everyone's just gonna agree.
Yeah,
I think there's probably gonna be a lot of discussion.
so our participation notes has. There's not a formal input taken, there's not comments taken by the community here.
It'll probably go to the MCC, so you guys can review a draft and provide a comment letter. But I've compiled all your notes from the last 5 years of comments.
I think Beverly has.
And there were comments related to like even a C1 for the coastal zone that I think are really helpful with our discussions about that. So hopefully it'll reflect what you all have provided feedback on.
Can we see that, Jenna?
Oh, yeah, you'll see a public, I
Oh,
don't know when, maybe in a few months. Couple months.
Yeah, okay.
All right, guys. Yeah, good job.
Sorry to miss your celebration.
Yeah, no problem. Can celebrate afterwards.
Okay, so that's it for the.
That's it, and we were just, I left out anything about this demonstration scale out of this, so we're gonna go to it. after. Sure.
And do you have my description of the changes? So, as you know, that we brought the county staff brought the demonstration of scale policy to the CDRC for feedback on an update. And so we've taken your feedback and we've applied it to the memo. In addition to the following changes, we expanded the application of story polls for Princeton. That wasn't listed as one of the communities. We put the story poll section first because before it was the poster criteria first and then the story polls. So just emphasizing its priority. I don't know if you recall, but the past memo had like major modification criteria at the very end of it, and it just felt like it was kind of tagged on and like not really
Yeah.
relevant. They're not, really related. So we're gonna put that in a separate document. We clarified the language as, just to remind, those doing the poster that they have to show the scale relative to the rear neighbor. It was in the previous, memo, but we wanted to make it more clear.
All three, okay.
Yeah, and then we added an example of demonstration scale that we felt like met the standards with authorization from the architect. So that's all.
Does that one have photos of story poles? That
Um,
example?
we could add that.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't have photos, it just has the poster. We can go back to them.
That would be ideal, I think, if we share like, this is the best.
Yeah,
Story poles.
okay. We have that little.
Is it? Yeah, this only one, right?
Yeah, it's pretty clear. But we can't feel it. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read it, but it's pretty much the same. It's not all that different. It's just mostly clarifications and like a slight reorganization.
Is that, but it's kind of the one that we wrote, I'm sorry. Let's see. But, well, I'll see one. But did you, on the posters, did you comment on the 2D instead of 3D?
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
Non-perspective.
right.
Yeah. Just example here.
Yeah, I mean, just overall feedback, I like the changes that were made towards it. I still feel, and we can talk about it now later, but I still feel like we should, support the cause by providing a position letter back to Supervisor Mueller or the planning department, just from the committee. Requesting the ordinance change to require story polls. That said, I feel like this is a step in the right direction. I like that you put in the for smaller scale projects, you can use this alternate method, but you don't, I guess, stateside. It just really emphasizes story polls instead of. Which I know you're dancing, there's good dancing there, we can require it, but it does seem to emphasize that. I mean, it had a couple minor stuff, like you guys point out that, I think the first sentence of the first page about, failure to demonstrate the proposed project meets the standards. Yeah, at the end of that, you have like at the discretion of the CRC. I would just recommend scrubbing that out, because I feel like the planning department should be able, like, can the planning department also turn back projects, not just the CDRC?
Well, it's the finding. It's the finding that the project demonstrates compliance with the scale standards.
Okay.
So we don't make that finding. We don't make any findings with regard to design review. The CDRC does, and
Okay, yeah, and I realize it's ultimately us, but if the planners, if it's another tool that the planner could use to, you know, let the applicants know that they haven't met this, then, or if they don't feel they've met it, then I think that just, you guys have that option. But yeah, I like, it seems like it's reworded in a way to put story polls forward there, and, I think like, you know, Mark Bush, I think we just have to be ready to turn down projects. We've kind of threatened it, but then you know, projects that are okay, to review anyways.
Well, we should give them the ability to remove them and get them, like, just give them like 30 minutes or whatever of review and to point out the things that they probably gonna get hit up on anyway, even if they're not ready to do it. Just give them some.
Yeah, I kind of give them that courtesy,
Yeah.
comments back. I think in all cases, we haven't, it hasn't been strong enough to reject. The only concern there then is there are neighbors who are not responding because,
Right.
you know, the
We're here.
the graphics look a little misleading or whatever, so it's just.
Yeah, we're supposed to respond for their representatives.
I think the real question is not story polls or story polls, pass or fail. I think it's more like, have they demonstrated
Yeah.
the project scale relative to the surrounding buildings? And if they have, regardless of what method, then I think we have to pass them. Even if all the
Until
neighbors are
something is
saying,
passed,
huh?
until something else gets.
Yeah, unless
passed.
something else becomes a problem.
Agree, I agree.
Yeah.
I
I
agree
mean,
with
that's
that.
what it reads exactly. You have to demonstrate scale, and we prefer this way, but
Yeah, it's the best way, but it's not the only one.
It's the best way. I mean, that's.
What's the next one? For sure.
I
I think both.
it gets people to see that they're instead of.
Well, and then
I see the
I
situation.
think we can still take the position, even with this change, that we recommend it should be required.
But I really like the example. This is.
yeah, I think it was really good.
Like as a person who puts together applications for this kind of thing. That's exactly what I look for. That's
There's something to say.
The poster example,
the example, yeah, like, okay, this is what they wanna see.
put
Put together.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, I think it's well done.
right, thank you.
Okay.
So we'll make this public, we'll integrate it into the package and replace the old, handout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thanks for making those changes. Mark, I just noticed in your, the director's report that, yeah, I did send over the petition. Maybe about 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah, I think I knew you did that.
And, you know, if we wanna
Get the
pursue
letter.
that letter,
It's a good idea.
I could, I drafted a letter, we didn't have a meeting last month.
I think I
but,
saw.
Yeah, you know, Camille had a comment that it's really not about a recommendation. It's about, or the recommendation is to request an ordinance change. It's not a policy change, but an ordinance change. And I don't know if that letter is best addressed back to Supervisor Mueller or to the planning department.
I would say
Yes.
both.
Both?
I think it's timely, actually, because we're looking at the design standards as a whole. So,
And then, yeah, we could, I'll put it in there. Maybe we'll also copy the because.
you know, on that note, I mean, not with the MCC, but I find it ironic, and I've said this before, is that the public neighbors always want to see historic polls, but very few applicants actually do them. And it's like, we're talking about literally the same community,
Population.
we're talking about the same population. And unless every applicant comes in with story polls, it's like, I'm not hearing everyone necessarily in agreement.
I don't hear the same. I mean, I know a lot of. There's several homes going up in our area in Miramar. Fighting
I think it was the-
the people,
We haven't been.
yeah,
Cause you'll get, what, 1 out of 10 doing story polls?
No, in Half Bay,
No, I mean,
We're not talking about how, I'm in Miramar, so.
Are you folks fighting the need for story polls or
Yes.
just fighting the projects?
Finding the need to do story polls.
doing posters.
the guy who did it, he didn't even, video, he just put them up.
Yeah, that guy was really nice about it.
It's like 1 out of 10.
But then there's two right in our neighborhood on the east side that really bought it.
And we don't, it was fighting in the.
You mean fighting as in like, we're not required to, so we're not gonna do it? Or-
Yes,
Yeah.
saying exactly that, because I had a bunch of neighbors who know that I've recently joined this, who came and asked me about some of the builds that didn't have story polls. And then, you know, I tried to like figure out why they didn't, and it was because just felt like it was a cost that was in a bureaucracy that wasn't necessary based on like some of the locations they were on vacant lots.
Yeah, it's, that's why we said it's like. Its location, and it can be, I mean, if there's nobody behind me, there's nobody around. But
Exactly,
I mean, we haven't seen, I don't know, the little projects.
Yeah, the only benefit of doing it in that case is just for the owner.
right.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, it is, I mean, it's kind of a slam dunk, if you've done it, then it's there, and you're done. If you're, it's an infill lot and stuff like that, if it's up against you, eucalyptus trees or something like that.
And those are some examples around where I'm at right now, and I'm really saying, why would I do that?
Yeah, it's, I haven't seen, it seems like the request for story polls is invariably from the neighbors. It's not the builders, and just kind of go with me. Like the builders have not said I would.
But it falls, the builder's budget falls back on them.
Yeah,
And the real fact of the matter is, like, honestly, I don't think story polls are not done because they're not needed. I think story polls are not done because they're expensive.
yes, that is exactly right.
So it's like there's like a talking out of both sides of the mouth, I think. Like, on the one hand, when they're neighbors to a development, they want the story polls, but when it's their own project, they don't.
Yeah, there's a guy who just bought, who is building the largest ADU I've ever seen so that he can avoid doing all of those kinds of things on a lot that's in my neighborhood. Because again, it's the added cost, it's the added bureaucracy, so I think we need to balance that. So we don't have people like my neighbor who is now going to go around all the rules by building a 1,700 square foot ADU,
How big is this house?
3,600 square feet.
It may not be 7. But yeah, you could do up to a 1,500 square foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just a lot of us.
Well, it's on a huge lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big lot, but still it's gonna be, yeah.
There's some really, yeah, and he can sell it.
Yes, and he can sell it, and it then becomes just a non-conforming house next to all of the other homes, right? So I think we have to be mindful of the bureaucracy challenge that gets in, like, so that people continue to try to want to follow the rules.
I mean, he is within the rules.
I know,
To his defense,
I know,
but
then-
ADUs are not subject to all this CDRC review.
I mean, story polls are, you know.
Yeah, I think ADUs are honestly kind of like a different topic, but,
I mean, this is discussion, I'm open to discussion, it just seems like from previous meetings that there was strong support to require, just. Maybe it's different people, different community
Yeah,
members.
well, there's a couple of guys. that
I
aren't
mean,
good.
I mean, you're bringing up a good point, because I was along the lines of, like, just certain stipulations, right? Like, if it's not 2 stories, if it's not, if it's very clearly not gonna affect your,
it backs up to the eucalyptus grove, there's a lot of,
I mean, maybe we do like what you call building area to property size ratio that once you're over
the threshold.
the threshold, then you have to do this for because then you're meeting a certain density.
embedded in the middle of like a row of houses, right? That makes more sense. Like
Yeah,
there are times that I can really see why you would want to do it because you could really affect every single person around you. But then there are a lot of lots here that,
But that being said too, like if we did just require it from everyone, someone had a road property. And submitted a few photos from the nearest road and couldn't see anything.
Yeah,
That
I
would
think
be fine.
it'd be simpler to do an appeal process.
I would be happy to just say, okay, yeah, it's free. But I don't
By
know.
the time it comes here, it's already settled.
yeah.
So it's more of a planning.
Yeah.
And
department.
the other thing is that with the visualization and technology capabilities, because story polls are pretty rudimentary, I feel like I wouldn't want to hard code something, like make it mandatory when things are advancing to where we can have visualization with, that could potentially be just as sufficient.
Hologram?
I think, I would
Required.
possibly, it may cost you like more to prove that that visual is accurate than more.
I know.
Pretty good.
But I think the sheer fact is if we don't require certain polls, no one's gonna build them. Like, I don't think even projects that should have them.
But I think this is a good compromise, like I really like how they wrote it up.
It's, with
Yeah.
this still, I think we're still gonna see the people. I mean, I don't know how effective this is. We're just recommending it, but it's a matter of, money, right, $3,000.
It's not that expensive to put them up.
I think people think it's a liability too, like a
Yes.
hazard liability and like,
No,
especially during winter,
You get builder's risk.
especially during winter.
I think
You
somebody's
can
point,
find excuses for
You
any.
can, you really can.
somebody's point was for like 1 million, like no house is gonna be built on the coast for
Mhm.
100.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, this is standard million, so then,
$800,000.
and maybe it is a death by 1,000 cuts, right? Like,
It
you're just
is.
getting this fee, et cetera. But it's something that comes up consistently with the design, in this meeting at least, with like, visual
Well,
representation.
as you get denied and you get set back a month or two, time is money too.
True, but I think all of us are capable of saying, does this really demonstrate scale? Public has an opportunity to comment. If it truly doesn't demonstrate scale, we do have the opportunity to say, no, this does not demonstrate
That's
scale.
what we're saying, though, we're just,
Yeah.
that's where it's been, we haven't enforced it yet because. Just, well, we did enforce it once, but it didn't happen, so
Well, no, because they demonstrated skill and
that's not what's required, that's not what it said on there, we're not gonna get into it. I mean, there was that will show.
Well, we could, as far as moving forward with that letter, as a committee recommending that circles are required, it sounds like. The new blood, it pulls new, right?
Yeah, no,
So we can definitely sort of sit on it, or if we.
Let's see how it works. Let's just try this approach and then see.
yeah, in your Survey Monkey, did you do a Survey Monkey
No, it was like a,
petition?
change.org.
Did it have something like require story poles and also if I was to do a project on my property, I would commit to doing story poles?
Yeah, it didn't have that.
It did not have that.
Didn't have that kind of.
And see, that's where, that's.
This applies to you as well.
Yes.
Yeah, nobody's, yeah, it's just,
And-
nobody care, you don't care about story poles unless somebody builds next to you.
Yeah.
It was definitely.
And we're kind of-
Yeah.
People, I know, I'm standing up for people I know, he's standing up for people he knows, and the public, there's one right here that he's strongly supportive of, yeah.
Have story poles?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and James would have been like story books, and I think.
Oh, James and Julian are crazy about it.
It's like, put
That's
them
why
in your contracts, like, if you're a contractor or a designer. Who's gonna design build or whatever, put them in your contracts. It's like, if it means something to the owner, you can even ask them when you're kind of putting the contract together. Do story poles mean anything?
I want everyone.
Is it something you wanna
We've
see?
always had
Let's
story-
put it in the contract, and it's like, I wish more people would do that, cause then it's like, then you'll see more of them, but if you don't put it in the contract. Then you're talking about over budget money,
Yes.
and people are gonna say
Well,
no
the
to that.
contract's not drawn until you're through planning, so it's gonna be,
Okay, so, in future meetings, when, if it comes up and the public's like, where the story polls, require the story polls, and we revisit this subject, then, you know. I
If
think
we can
it's-
deem, if we deem that the posters aren't adequate, and that the people are, I guess we could put a count on how many people. I mean, yeah.
I think so, and I also think if the poster is not adequate for the people who attend the meeting, because we do want to give the public an opportunity, then that is an answer to, you should have story polls, right? Or you should do a different way of demonstrating it, because then you haven't met the burden of demonstrating scale.
It's all, it's all hard because some people can't, some people are too timid to even speak in front of, like, I mean, I don't know if you know people like that. I mean, you're not, obviously, most people in here are enough outgoing, aren't these? I have neighbors that won't even come to a block party. They've known us all their life because they're just like, can't be out in public. It's weird. But, and. you know,
I love story.
They're just too afraid to be public. I mean, I don't know if they're too far, I don't know that subject, I'm just talking about.
I think it's really the misconception, because they'll have seen a set of story polls and go, yeah, it's required, right?
Yeah.
And just assume it's required,
Right.
and tell them it's not required. So like, well, I saw one, like, why would somebody construct one if it's not required? Kind of things.
Yeah.
I mean, I would then make, I mean, you know, it's not. Doesn't mean it just happens, but yeah, based on what April said, I would say, yeah, let's, yeah, we can hold off on sending out the draft and. This idea that,
I don't think anything's changed except for it's up on the table. It's the same thing.
Well, it's more
it's good
direct.
changes.
I think it's good. It's more
I
direct.
don't know, for the record, when I went through to apply for my house a few years ago, like, I looked through and I said, well, I want to pass the first go around, so I'm gonna do everything that they want.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
So I built the story polls and we got through. But had I been more
Nice design.
experienced, huh?
You had a good design.
But
You're gonna save a buck.
had I been more experienced, like I am now, maybe, then we would.
You're not gonna get denied.
We can demonstrate scale without story polls, but that's to say, I think we've laid out what we would love to see, and if someone wants to come and get through with no comments, they know how to do it.
Okay. So,
Because to your point, time is money too, so I think people will be invested in it.
Yeah, I mean, having to come back is not the third project.
Yeah, there is one project, where the project planner had told them that your demonstration scales is likely to get, you know, comments and does that, and what we laid out in the policy, they move forward with it, we approve the project, so at that point, it's on us to say.
Yeah.
I mean, at the risk of talking about the first item, I feel that way. This guy. So,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I don't know what you want to say, those changes, but whatever.
Well,
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But,
I'm excited.
yeah, I just wanted, it's just, I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Should we go then?
Do we need to do the matters not on the agenda and then we'll go maybe go to.
I'm not out volunteer. They're good.
They are.
You tell them, you got these.
We have them,
All right, sorry.
Hey, Mark, the chair, would you like to open up for public comments for matters not on agenda?
I would like to open chair for public comment for items not.
Okay, so per chair, we're now opening public comments for matters not on agenda. For those attending this meeting in person, speaker forms are available in the back of the room. Please provide me with your speaker slip immediately. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak on this agenda item. For those joining by phone, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. When you hear your name or last four digits of your phone number called, I'll prompt you to come to the front or unmute your account, then inform that you may begin speaking. As mentioned earlier, please limit your speech to 3 minutes or less. We have no participants
I think these are closed.
on Zoom.
For item one.
Oh, wait a minute, okay.
Okay, so yeah, seems like we do not have any speakers for matters for items not on agenda. So Mark, please indicate if you'd like to close public comment.
I'd like
Hi,
to
Tony.
close public comment.
Ready for us?
Not yet. 3 o'clock.
I don't know my guys. Fine, sorry.
Okay.
Close
Close.
public comment.
Okay, public comment session closed, and we're about 18 minutes until we can start the next item number 1. And yeah, so we will return at 3 p.m. And what I should do, just do, okay, we'll just do a whiteboard here. Okay. Hello, Katie. Can you hear us?
She's can, but she's muted. There she is.
You haven't changed your picture.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, can you see me?
No.
No.
I think I'm not used to not being on the presenter side of things. I can mute myself and I can raise my hand and that's about it. Well, I just wanted to join quickly and wish you well, Glenn. I got the email letting us know that you're moving on to another opportunity and you'll be missed. We definitely appreciate your service. And I don't think I heard back from Camille, but I was like, what's the best time to jump in? And so I just was finally back at my computer and thought I would join. But I just wanted to thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you. I know I haven't been on the committee for about a year now somehow. But yeah, we really appreciate you taking charge and learning the ropes. I know it's not an easy role to be in, and I hope that this next opportunity will be a lot of fun and growth for you. And I think is it Louis or Luis?
Roots.
Luis. Hi, Luis. It's Katie. So congrats on the new role. You guys
Thank
are
you.
down the street from me right now, but I'm packing to leave on a trip tomorrow. So unfortunately, I couldn't pop in. But I look forward to continuing to work with you. And Glenn, good luck in your next role. I guess that was a pretty quick turnaround. Are you moving down south?
Yeah, I'm moving downtown. So, yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you, Katie. Yeah, it's nice to see not your face, but your old image. That's
Yeah,
just
I'll have to get a new
have
image
so
because
much
we're getting a new
much better.
dog. We're gonna get a
Yeah,
new dog in 2 weeks, so I'll have to get a new picture.
yeah, just took me back to the old days when we had the virtual meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
kind of miss the virtual meeting days.
yeah, really nice to hear back from you. And it's a small world, and we'll see each other like at some other places, or just yeah, we're just running into each other like one day, like maybe just here in Half Moon Bay.
I'm sure we will. It's a very small world in our industry, so
Yeah, right.
it's been great working with you. And I'm gonna get back to trying to send out a whole bunch of proposals and pack. But I just wanted to pop in and say thank you for all that you've done for the committee and for the community and for the county. And I wish you luck in your next role.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank
Okay, I'll
you.
talk to you all later.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye. See you
Okay,
soon.
bye.
Bye. Okay. And this meeting is being audio recorded. And now we have the applicant and now the owner here. The committee representative is Mark Dean. So Mark, would you like to give us a just short introduction, like a full introduction of the project based on the agenda?
Okay, sounds good. Okay, this item is item number 1 on the agenda. It's in Granada and it's from, and I apologize. It's, the applicant is Steve Kelvin. The owner is Tony Uccelli, close enough. Okay. File number PLN 2023-00055. And the location is in Sonora Avenue in El Dorado. And this is a consideration of a design review permit recommendation for the construction of a new 2-story, 1,538 square foot single family resident with an attached 499 square foot garage and attached 495 square foot junior accessory dwelling unit. On a legal, non-conforming 3,986 square foot parcel associated with a hearing level non-conforming use permit and coastal development permit. NCUP is required for development of a 32-foot wide lot, where 50 foot is required. The project only involves minor grading, no tree removal. The JADU is a ministerial project that does not require review by the CDRC. The CDRC will not render a decision, but will make a recommendation regarding the project's compliance with the design review standards. Planning Commission public hearing on a VR permit. NCUP and CDP will take place after July 11th. This project was scheduled for continued consideration from the July 13th, 2023 meeting. The project is available to the California Coastal Commission. The application was deemed complete on June 13th, 2024. The project owner is Lynn.
Okay, sounds good. So do you have a presentation to give to the CDRC?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, good afternoon, Steve Kellen, project architect. I think what I'd like to do is just go through, after our meeting last time on this particular project, we received, the comments or notes, from the CDRC. And those were enumerated for us. And I think easiest way is me to just go through those and talk about, the changes that we made. I also want to thank Commissioner Stegmeyer for being so gracious with some of his time to help clarify some of these comments. First thing was, it's a legal non-conforming lot, but the challenge we had in the beginning was the narrowness of it. And so due to the parking requirements for 2 spaces for the single family home, there was no way to fit that in our original design without asking for a setback exception to come into the corner street side setback. We had a discussion about that at that meeting, saying, just sort of thinking out loud about options of, could we do a single car garage and alternatively ask for, parking exception versus the setback exception. So in this revised proposal that's before you, we have proposed to make that change. We reduce the width of the proposed home to meet all of the required setbacks. And we have proposed a single car garage. So before we were asking for the setback exception, now we revise it to meet all setbacks and are asking for a parking exception for a single car garage. And I think that was one of the fundamental things that, we had looked at and talked about. Along with that, you can see in this drawing, with the reduction in the narrowness of the property, we also took a look at meeting the daylight plane. So the house now fits within the building envelope. And that was one of the other comments later on, which had to do with overall height, mass, scale, shape. And so the reduction in width made it compliant with the setbacks. We also took a total of 1'10" out of the overall height of the building. So we took 6 inches out of the lower ceiling height. We took 11 inches or almost a foot out of the plate height at the second floor.
And then with the reduction in the width of the building, that resulted in another 5 inches. So we felt like that certainly went a long way to address, mass and scale, where we had a 9-foot plate before at the second floor, and we had, taller roof lines. The second comment on here had to do with complementing other structures in the neighborhood. I think there was a concern, we previously came to you for approval or recommendations on a project that's immediately next door to this. And I don't know if you have the renderings, but I have
It's 130 Sonora.
comparisons here, yeah. And so with that particular project, it was more of a contemporary kind of coastal farmhouse. And we were proposing, dark windows. It was kind of more of a high contrast. With the original proposal for this project, we had something similar, which I think you were reacting to, where we had, the dark windows, we had some white trim, and we had sort of a gray body with, similar, more modern kind of railings. So architecturally, we took a step back and said, how can we maybe better incorporate, some of the architecture of the other homes in that neighborhood? So the color palette now is different, and I would say, I think more traditional and varied, maybe more like the neighborhood, not quite, more the modern style or bending that direction as the property next door. So we feel like this really, I think, differentiates it, more so from the house immediately next door, but also is consistent, with the rest of the neighborhood.
Don't we also have a dual color scheme now versus before it was a singular, right?
Correct.
Like that, and that was again for input we got at the last meeting, right?
Correct.
That's what we're trying to keep up.
Another sort of element we discussed had to do with, along with massing, had to do with the roof line. And we took a look at that. We are proposing to do some roof trusses so that the inside slope of the ceiling, not that that matters to you, is less than the outside. But in doing that, we took a look at the form, and we reduced, it was suggested that we maybe come up with some sort of long skylight or something to break up the center. And what we proposed here is to, bring that ridge line down. So in addition to the 1'10" overall height reduction, that we have made, we have articulated, I think, a little bit better, or broken up that long ridge line. Kind of consistent with the gable forms that we have on this Columbus Street elevation, where it basically creates, 2 cross gables, and then we're able to lower, that center ridge line down. And then a couple other, details, I guess, with the architecture. Talked about, changing the colors. We're doing a 2-color scheme. With the height reduction, we also, with the massing, the height of all the windows changed as well. With the previous proposal, we had all of the window heights up at, at 8-foot level, which would have been more consistent with the house next door that you guys had reviewed. So with bringing this scale down and the reductions in height, we also changed that proportionally with the building, where we brought the tops of the windows from 8 feet down to 7 feet, which we feel, I think, is very consistent with your guidance on, let's bring the massing and scale of the building, or take a look at it and see how it can maybe be, more consistent, with the neighborhood. What's that? Go ahead, we'll see. Yes, correct. Okay. Yeah. We also added a little bit of architectural detail in the 2 gables that you see here on the Columbus Street side. We added some horizontal siding, up in the top of that to be more consistent with the center, gable that we have. We also created a different colored front door, which again, add some variety to, the siding that we have with two different, colors. We also changed the deck railings, that you see there. I mentioned that previously we had, shown a horizontal metal railing that was, definitely more modern. So we've proposed a wood railing that is different, a little more traditional, painted, kind of a white color to go, with the rest of the trim. We also previously had some metal roof sections, which were more, contemporary. Some of the gables had a metal roof combined with the asphalt shingle, and we eliminated that since we felt like, the architecture of this revision was, going more traditional style. And then the ADU, I think, was also another discussion, but we took a look at that, as we reduced the massing, it reduced some of the square footage of the building. We took a look at that and just felt like the junior ADU made more sense, for this particular project. Since the intent is that, it was potentially going to be for, someone with family members that, needed to live there. But just felt it was appropriate to go ahead and just adjust that since the square footage was coming down anyway to formalize it as a junior. And then the last few details, I guess, had to do with some fencing and landscaping. In the original proposal, we did have a tree that was near the front of the property, adjacent to the garage, kind of in the front yard there. And it was obvious, I think, through some feedback from the neighbor and discussions with him that potentially long-term that was going to be a negative because we want to preserve as much of his view, down the street. And so in the landscape plan, we proposed to take that out. It was also suggested for, I think, some privacy and acoustic screening that we add or think about a way we could add some vines or something in the back. So the landscape plan has been adjusted to incorporate that, along the fence. And then one item, I do apologize that for some reason it didn't make it onto the landscape plan, but there was a question or request about what the detail of the fencing might look like. So there's just a couple of copies of, what we would propose to do that would be consistent, with the architecture of the house. I think that covers most of, the changes that we made. Again, thank you to Commissioner Stegmeyer for clarifying some of this stuff. I don't know if you got the renderings, but I'm happy to pass these around too if you would like to compare the previous to the original. This has this color material board, and then the actual viewed renderings are attached to those. Some of you, I know, didn't get a chance to maybe see the original, and it doesn't look like it's in the PDF here.
Glenn sent the original out.
So, thank you all for your time. I'm happy to answer any specific questions.
Yeah. Thank you. So, I guess, Shane. Yeah, we move on to questions.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, I looking at that, I guess I'll throw out the first question. Just you mentioned a couple times some clarifications from Chair Stegmeyer. Is that like through correspondence, or just curious with that? What the form was for that?
Yeah, well, we had some questions on, again, the form we received. So I was in discussions with staff, and he had suggested that I could maybe reach out to one of the CPRC members that were in attendance at the previous.
Okay. Thanks for the presentation. I'm coming through some of these as well. I can just fire through some questions, but would you like to?
Yeah, sorry, I'm catching up. wasn't fully briefed on the previous application, so feeling pretty good. Most of my clarifying questions have been answered. Looks like the lighting spec hasn't changed. One question I had for the planning team was if the demonstration scale posters were placed on time.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you repeat your question, please?
If the demonstration scale posters were placed on time.
Yeah, they were placed
My
on.
renderings, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
they were.
put them in on
They were.
January the 1st.
Yeah, so they provided
Actually,
pictures to.
July the 1st, my bad. I was reading. July the 1st, they went in, and I emailed you copies,
Yeah,
emailed you pictures
the-
on that day. So you knew they were in.
Yeah, correct. I can confirm that.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, I'm not sure if it was discussed at the last meeting or not, but the demonstration scale, you know, doesn't, that our policy doesn't conform in terms of, you know, showing adjacent properties and or, you know, from all four sides. So I'm not sure if that's something that was.
Yeah, so I can pull up that, and I think we had some discussion. I think it shows four sides, and then we had some discussion between staff and the architect. Let me find the information.
Well, as far as I understood, we presented the rendering views in the first meeting. And between the three renderings, it shows all four sides of the building. And so when we made these revisions, we kept the same view so that they could be compared. And those were submitted to staff 15 days prior to this meeting as required. And I believe staff had just sent me an email asking, does the demonstration of scale show all four sides? And my response was yes.
And adjacent properties.
And it does that. It shows
Yeah, so this
it
is
shows
the
proposed
left side
Was approved.
and part of the front side. And this is the front side and the right side. And here you can see the rear and the left. So it does show four sides, but the CRC does have the authority to further comment on it.
So I do want to comment on that, but I also have another clarifying question that's sort of unrelated. Do you want to cover that first?
Oh,
so the other thing I was noticing about the plans, was I just wanted to clarify with the planning team. I did a quick takeoff on the ground floor plan. And it looked like it was a little over 1,400 square feet, which would be over the maximum allowable coverage. And so I just wanted to make sure you guys double check that. It's not really my job, but it looked big and I just did a quick takeoff. And it didn't look to match what's on the cover sheet, so.
and this,
If I may, the junior ADU doesn't count for coverage.
yeah, so ADUs, they get the 800 square
So
feet.
what happens, if you take a look at our diagram, it will show where the portion of the second floor would count towards the coverage, but the junior ADU footprint.
But the second floor isn't ADU.
Well, I don't know if you want to go to that page, but that's
Yeah.
how we did it before and staff had advised us to calculate the coverage.
That's, I think, how it's written, the junior ADU is.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, all I'm
But if
reacting
there's
to,
house over the junior ADU, then that would.
all I'm reacting to is the number on the cover sheet didn't seem to match the takeoff that I did.
Yeah, I can do some further research in the background, just, yeah. Yeah, if you have any, do you have any other questions, you can discuss those while I'm doing my research in the background.
Well, can we jump into the demonstration scale conversation?
Yeah, I think so, because I know Glenn showed that, but again, what we're seeing just from the committee, we're supposed to roll on demonstrations. The planning staff, but what we're seeing is just the visual of the demonstration scale in front of the property. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of have a different approach to it, which is that a lot of the comments that I was reading through in the letter we're addressing not only how the house related to sort of existing homes, but also the home that you plan to build next door. And what I'm reacting to is the renderings aren't completely showing either in relation to this house. It's hard to tell how big it is compared to the existing properties, because the existing properties aren't really showing in these drawings. They're nice drawings. I think they represent what you guys are planning to do really well. I think I would just ask for like a little bit more of a zoom out to see more context, and especially more context for the home that you're putting next door. If that's the way you want to go about presenting this, which I think it is, because otherwise I think you could come in and say, these are the renderings without the house next door, and that would be fine too. But I think the stance that you're trying to make here is these are coming together, and that's fine. But I want to see these two houses with the house next to that, because at the moment, there's nothing here.
What do you mean the house next to that? Which way? There is no house. Are you talking about the street?
House, and then there's like single story home over here.
No, not that direction. There's an open lot next to the one going that direction.
I'm just saying, I don't know that, like, I can go on site and sort of suss it out, but to have that information on these drawings is gonna be incredibly helpful, even if it is an empty lot. Because then we can see, okay, you're getting an empty lot next to these two homes. So that's what I'm reacting to. And that is sort of addressing the comments that were made, because I feel like I can't adequately respond to the comments because I don't really have the context here.
So there's a house on Sonora Street. You'd sort of say behind it, I don't know if you call it, but just on Sonora Street, this very small house, is that on this?
Okay, there's no house, the behind those houses on Sonora Street is another open lot. And then there's another open lot. So there's two open lots behind. If you go to the backyards of these two houses right here, there's a dirt lot, 6,000 square foot dirt lot, and then there's another 6,000 square foot lot behind that. So there's literally no houses. You gotta go 3 lots to the east before you hit another house.
Yeah, you're showing that, there's
So
that house right there.
Let's go in the other direction. Hold
there's a
on.
home here.
No. Snow, okay, oh, Snow, I thought you were going back, I thought you were.
No,
this is like-
that's Sonora Street.
The houses line up.
Right,
So I'm interested in any sort of context. I mean,
Even the house across the street, right, is that considered an adjacent house?
yeah.
I apologize, I'm confused because we've done most of the renderings in a similar fashion to
now all of a
this.
sudden this rendering is, okay.
So what you're explaining to me is totally fine. We would have done that if we knew that in the beginning, but no one had explained that we needed to go to that extent.
Well, it's in the policy, so I mean, the policy documents I think are provided to you. I mean, we're both of us are new on this here. Yeah, the demonstration policy, I think was approved in 2020.
Okay, but to be fair, we were here for lot 15 next door and we showed those renderings and they were fine. And then we were here for this lot before and showed those renderings and they were fine. So the fact that we were here 2 times before and those renderings are good, now to come in, I understand you're new. But now all of a sudden we should have just known that.
Perfectly fine, thing to bring up, and I put it back to the plan next step.
I think it's less about the renderings for me and more about explaining
Yeah, the scale.
how the comments have been addressed.
Okay.
I think you've done a good job to explain in words, and I think the drawings are lacking that explanation. So, I mean, I don't really know what that means in terms of how we want to respond to this, but I do feel like the comments that were made were not really addressed. And that pairs with not having drawings that sort of express the response to those comments.
Do you understand that? Because honestly, I need translation. And I'm not really quite I'm really not understanding what you want right now. I'm sorry if I'm not understanding what you're looking for.
So at this point, I would suggest that we may just move into the public comment session, then we can just provide clarification to the applicant at the same time. That way we just have a full picture of what the project is, and now we can just come up with clear comments and directions to you, and we can further discuss. Does that sound good?
Okay, so we'll close questions unless, Rashid, you have any additional. Okay, so we'll open up the public comment, and then after public comment, we'll go through the discussion section. The session, we kind of jumped the gun on the discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so per the chair, we're now opening the public comment session for item number 1. So for those attending this meeting in person, please provide me with your speaker slip. And if you're joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to raise your hand. For those joining by phone, press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. And now when you hear your last 4 digits of your phone number called, I'll prompt you to come to the front or unmute your account, then inform that you may begin speaking. I'll then ask you to state your name for the record. As mentioned earlier, please limit your speech to 3 minutes or less. Yeah, we have no participants on Zoom, and now I received only 1 speaker slip from people who are here in person. So Kurt Essinger, please come to the front, and you have 3 minutes to speak on this item.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll have your slides or PDF pulled up.
Okay, I want to go back to the beginning, I think when Steve was describing it, and just say, I do appreciate the changes you guys made in terms of kind of getting conforming within your non-conforming building garage and respecting the setbacks. That's. I looked at it and there's one simple suggestion. I know I'm not the architect that Steve is, but it still looks like a lot of heavy roof on this thing. And then the narrower it got, to me, the more roof it looks like it's got, especially the view from the garage. So I just thought, well, I was going to do this. I'm not an architect. I just take it, just lay that roof down, try to minimize the kind of visual. That's just for consideration. That's the next one. Skip over one.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, so I also appreciate downsizing the landscaping in the front yard. My comment on the bottom of that was there was the 130 Sonora, the one that's going to be proposed to be built right next to it. Also has a lot of large landscaping on it. And Tony put in an email that it's going to be, they're going to get rid of all the trees and just put in shrubs, but I haven't seen that in the plan. So I just wanted to make sure that actually happens.
Yeah, for the lot next door.
Yeah.
It's in the building permit set, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I went on the site and I'm just seeing the old drawings. It's the old.
Okay.
Well, all the promises I made to you about the trees, we removed them out. And also took input from John, who was the neighbor behind us. So,
Right.
well, I made concessions, pretty much whatever you guys asked me for the trees, trying to just be neighborly.
Okay, I appreciate it.
But we'd be happy to send.
Yeah,
I don't have your email.
I can give you that. There's my own, thanks for your consideration. But there's a tree that we have currently across the street. We're trimming it today. It'll probably look a little bit better, but it's up in the power lines, which your trees will be also. It just kind of consumes the neighborhood and takes away all the site work. So landscaping is half of the game here. Having trees that fit the coastal look. Take up all. I want to come back to the scale. I've got I guess I heard the discussion here and it's a little bit tense and people change positions and all that, but the truth is very few people from all the things that I've seen on coming through this committee, very few people demonstrate scale. They all show their three-dimensional rendering, their elevations, but it doesn't tell you anything about scale. Like zero, actually. Unless you did zoom out and you kind of got the right, level where you're projecting from, so you really could tell, oh, that's the size of that house relative to that thing, relative to that house, relative to that. And so I've never seen that I didn't see it on the 130 Sonora Avenue project, it wasn't there. Didn't see it on this one, wasn't there. It gets talked about every single meeting. It's not like a surprise for you guys. You just haven't figured out a way to show. And I think the comment about zooming out is probably the key. If you really wanted to show it, go put story poles up and show it.
Sure, that'll be 10 grand. All right, look, I'm sorry.
I'm saying that you guys talk about it.
Okay.
He's having.
I can
I'm sorry.
How they come in through.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, that's all my comments.
Okay, thank you for your comments, and I don't see any additional raised hands or speaker slip. So, Chair, please indicate if you'd like to close public comment. Representative Mark.
Yeah, let's close public comment.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Thank you. We're moving on to discussion.
So, just a couple of minutes that I captured in, I thought the changes that were made, were moving in a positive direction. I think cutting out 1.5 feet on the height.
Almost 2 feet.
Almost 2 feet on the height, so good concession for, impact and scale. Property, getting rid of all the setbacks is that's another good step there. As far as the single car parking, it's not really going to comment on that. It's more zoning regulations. Neighbors have, typically brought that up, but it's not really kind of the purview of what we're doing here. Yeah, the changes to the, adding the dual color scheme, that's come up quite a bit. We have a big block of one color, having two colors, I think really does add a little bit more depth and helps with kind of blocking things. So that's definitely positive there. I didn't, there's a number of comments about making the design look different from the previous structure by, I guess, pulling out some more modern aesthetics and adding in, more traditional, I'll just call it. Items. So, I think that's a way to address it. I didn't necessarily feel like it needed to differ in terms of the modernity design. That's the way you guys choose it. So I felt like a lot of those changes are the same. So it's open with that. And if you have any particular comments.
Yeah, I mean, when I opened the drawings, I didn't know if this would come in before, so I just had some general comments. And most of them were positive, like I really like the board and down siding and like that fits really well, the color palette, like the sort of package that you guys are putting together. I think, the building mass was were the comments that I had mostly, and it looked like those were picked up in the previous version. So in comparing it to what you guys had before, I think this is better. The biggest thing, honestly, for me is this square footage sort of potential miscalculation. So Glenn, or I don't know whose job.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I can chime in real quick on that one. So here we have the compliance table here. It says the lot coverage is 1227 square feet. If we go here, so if I'm understanding correctly, the question is whether this part of it, like the overhang above the JADU is not counting toward that.
No, my question is, I did a takeoff on the PDFs scale.
Okay.
And my scale takeoff is 1,300 square feet, not 1,200.
Okay, so Steve, can you please confirm that?
Again, the junior ADU square footage doesn't
It would towards the lot coverage.
Oh,
Doesn't towards
The,
floor area.
the junior ADU will not be, it's counted, but they get the 800 square foot exemption. But I think the key issue is if this master bedroom is counted toward the coverage, it's like overhang
You
above.
scroll down to we have all the calculations.
Is it this?
I guess I know you have the calculations. I'm wondering if the planning department double check those.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like.
How big is, how big is the JUD?
It's 495 if I'm, let's see,
So
correctly.
your 1,400 is.
When I go through the county, they often will lay out, they'll like double check.
Oh,
the
area. Yeah, this is
There's
the,
if you look on the upper left-hand corner, there's an X there because that portion of the junior ADU is exempt. The second floor, master bedroom does count towards lot coverage.
So it's
Okay.
only,
Because
Credit.
it's above, you don't get credit for, having an ADU under other livable area that counts for both floor area and coverage. It's
Okay,
only
no,
the
no,
upper
no,
portion.
I totally understand that.
okay,
okay,
so that's been resolved, okay. Right,
Sorry.
okay.
okay.
I,
Okay, no problem.
I didn't take.
No
off.
problem, it's always
I
good to
missed
double check.
This exemption.
Yeah. It's always good to double
That's
check.
the first floor area, that's part of the JADU that doesn't have a.
Second floor above.
coverage.
That makes
Okay,
sense.
yeah. Okay, yeah, always good to double check. We're good.
Yeah, so, the-
You said that was your largest issue. What would be your largest issue now? I'm just curious.
My second one. Is just the demonstration of scale, and honestly, I feel bad because I wasn't here before, so I do think that, if I stood out here with these drawings, or if I stood out on site with the drawings, the house would feel big to me, in relation to what's adjacent. And I can only sort of address comments that were made before Reddit. So I think,
Yeah, I do have a question related to that, and that, so that, you've dropped the property of like a half. Is it, how does it relate to 130 Sonora, the project that was previously approved? Is it now 1.5 feet below the height?
It's like 2 feet lower.
Lower than this picture? This is 130 Sonora.
Yeah.
So that with this perspective, you're not gonna know that this looks like two buildings of the same height. And so just kind of, the appearance there is like a apartment buildings, right? Like just two big structures that are side by side, same height. And if the demonstration of scale showed this property, stepping down, which you guys have already done.
I don't know how to show that. I mean, the
Well,
rendering.
I think we've since clarified the demonstration of scale standards to exclude perspective drawings because they don't help with scale.
That's
You
fine.
have to give us like a flat 2D plane,
That's
with just
totally
two
fine.
structures next to it, and you draw a line, you can tell one's lower than the other. The perspective drawings are just,
I totally,
they're not helpful.
I'm just saying, to be fair, like, we didn't,
I
this is
know.
the first we're hearing about.
I
it.
know, and I looked at your last demonstration of scale and it has the same problem. You're right, we should have told you like at the last project, but yeah, they don't demonstrate scale.
And in fact, this rendering does a disservice to your project, because this one, to me, I would think that this new building is actually taller than the one that you're proposing, which is actually.
Yeah, because like
In
they
terms
look
of,
at,
like,
look up like from the street side, so
Yeah,
that's
it's
why
a
it
bad
looks like. Yeah, but kind of it can be kind of translated.
Can we just like ask how it, since the only building in the area, immediate area is the one across the street, right?
No,
There's
can't be,
Quite
yeah,
a few.
there's quite, well, I'm looking at the.
I mean, there's buildings across the street.
It's only the buildings across the street, so, right? Because this is empty, this is empty, and this is empty.
Right.
Yes.
So it's, can you, I mean, would it help to get the heights? Do you happen to know the heights of the buildings across the street and how those might compare to?
Can I ask a question? And if I'm totally off base, then you guys can tell me this. And you jump in too. We are now under the limits that we're allowed to build, right? If we're under the limits that we're allowed to build, why am I even having, in theory, to show you how they relate to other houses? If I mean, are you gonna tell me that just because the other house is short, I gotta build even further under my limits? I don't understand. The whole point, if we're under our limits, aren't I allowed to build to that limit?
Yeah, so the limits are addressed in the zoning regulations, which tells you that you can do, maximums, right? The design review guidelines are to tell you, it talks about how the properties like fits into the neighborhood, like elements of design, scale, mass, all of those things. So those are what we're interpreting. We're not interpreting the zoning regulations to tell you that, you need to build to this height or 2 feet below or what. We're talking about how it fits in the neighborhood. That's what we're doing here. And just, all the things that you guys described about the changes that you made, to me would be like, great, perfect. This is like you listened to the comments, you did what you needed.
We did everything, pretty much.
But then I sort of see these and it makes me go, these are 2 big blocky buildings. And, we're trying to balance, what you guys are bringing forward to us with what the community in the neighborhood is concerned about as well. So that's our balance there. And this backed up what you guys said, the changes that are made in the plans. I think it slammed
I
dunk for
mean,
me.
both of the ceilings, on the first and second floor are 8 foot.
It's not even about that, I think, can I try? I don't know if I'm allowed to speak.
Well, yeah, I mean, the discussions have been between us, but I'm totally.
I was just gonna write it out, like explain the CDRC guidelines. It is about neighborhood character and fitting into the neighborhood character and ensuring that, and there are several examples in our handbook actually that talk about the way the roofing lines kind of mass in order to ensure that, like, if you've got like a 1-story house, because we recognize you're gonna maybe build in a neighborhood with a bunch of 1-stories and older homes, and then you're building. And so our goal is to make sure that the home fits within the character and the style of the neighborhood so that it blends and doesn't just look like 2 big things popped out of the earth, right?
No, I totally get that. And there's 2-story homes around there. Again, I guess I'm just frustrated because it's coming after. We would have done whatever we could to, meet what you wanted to see.
Or more importantly too, I mean, you guys are professionals in this, you're doing this, if we're telling you that one roof line is 2 feet higher than the other one, I mean, we should be able to almost, I mean, I understand if you get angles of pictures, they don't work right, but we should also be able to understand that if lot 15 is 2 feet taller, then that's how it's gonna look in the real world when we're done building, as opposed to me just having to go create another picture that shows you that angle.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a need for demonstration scale. It's just, I get your frustration. It's a frustration we have balancing out what the community wants, and part of that is making sure that we have these, I'll call them reinforcements. So, I mean, what we have to go on and what you are describing verbally to us, right? As well as, looking through the plans and looking at the, heights that you mentioned. So that's just something that, I don't know, I mean,
Well,
will we go back? You wanna, have to kind of go through each sheet here and just reinforce that, or, I honestly, I'm getting tired of this demonstration of scale conversation as well too, because I feel like it jumps back.
reading the memo, it does say images should represent all sides of the project along with immediately adjacent structures. There are no immediately adjacent structures.
What about the property in Sonora?
It's not, it hasn't been built,
I just think, I understand.
right?
No,
It hasn't been built.
Not,
So
not
there-
that one, not the empty lot, the one, like,
There isn't anything.
Their properties, even down Sonora is 3 lots now.
so is this,
Three lots away.
is this property,
That's not immediately, I wouldn't say that's immediately adjacent.
so this one's not considered.
Oh, we're not seeing here is like the empty
I
lot
mean,
next
we did-
door,
Mm,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Then you
and
need a-
that's part of the story. It's like, I'm a neighbor, I walk by, I see these 2 houses on a poster. I don't know where this is, like,
What do you mean by empty lot? Are you saying you prefer that we didn't show the proposed house next to it?
I'm just saying, if you.
there's
zoom
an empty
out-
lot next to that, right?
Right.
Like that. Because, I mean, from experience where I live, someone built a house in a lot like this. And it looks, you know, it looks different than the empty lot, much different than the empty lot. And I think that's fine, that's great, and that means someone's gonna come into that empty lot and build a house there. But it's part of the story here, and I think we're not doing a service to the community if we're not, if you guys aren't explaining that part of the story, I think.
So do you mind if I ask a question just for the future, right? Because we're probably gonna have other
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah,
I mean, how far do you want us to go?
just for the next structure would be like awesome. Or if in this case, even that empty lot would have been nice. Like, these are really tough for me because there's no existing item here. Like, you could tell me that in this 3D model, there's no other buildings in the model, and I would believe you. Like, having any sort of existing context would be great.
Yeah, demonstrate context.
I
How
think
the home
it's
situation.
half on you and half on us. Like, we should have just rejected the demonstration scale, and said, show me the nearest adjacent structure. So we accept the blame, and I'm sorry this has caused confusion. But as far as what the CDRC wants to do next. or
As
what-
far as the revision from you guys goes, I think it's easy, like. I think. We're looking at just a zoom out of these drawings.
Does it mean coming back to the next meeting though? I mean, is that?
Well, I mean, I know we haven't voted, I'm of the opinion that I'd like to talk about other items, if there are other items, but I'm pretty supportive of this project. This is, I want to make a contention about the demonstration scale, but, I don't know if that's necessary. So, I do, but I do want to take your feedback in consideration. It's beyond, should I just, let's just say they give demonstration of scale, student model and follow what you feel like it should look like. It has to zoom out, so that's just a problem.
Do I think it would be okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what the,
Yeah, I don't know.
landscaping, I felt that those changes or those adjustments to the plans or the scale of the plans were necessary, and it sounds like the public comment was related to the adjacent property, not this property per se. But I do remember that project, and I think it's really at that kind of corner, that tree at the corner, that's probably one of the biggest concerns, because
We took that.
Yeah, and we took the one out in 15 too, just so. So obviously I knew when we were doing 15 that we were gonna get to 16 and the same concern would be there, so that's why we proactively made the adjustment ahead of time. If it's not on a certain plan vision in somewhere, it's just an older, I don't have an answer for that right now, I have to look at. And there was some discrepancy, we asked the landscape architect about Kurt's concern at one point was how big the trees could get, the 50, and my architect swore on his life, there's no way it could get that big, because it's different on the coast, and I was like in between two people who thought how big a tree could get, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever, so I acquiesced, and if I haven't acquiesced to what tree Kurt wants, he could almost pick the tree, I don't care, okay, so that's what I'm just saying is that, but that's where we were, but that was probably 8 or 9 months ago, so it's a little
Well,
gray.
I mean, one way we could address that is just put a condition that, you know, that whatever tree, just confirming that, like the maximum height of the tree at the front corner, at the corner of the lot is, I mean, it's gonna be a tree species that doesn't get taller than 30.
I think he's worried about the girth anyway, but, right? Worried about the girth of the tree.
Both,
Yeah.
Well, let me think of it, because it's something that I'm not even sure we can put in, because if, you know, the plans already show it, like, I didn't see any super large tall species, but, you know, so it's a condition that I guess we're already met, so.
Yeah, I think the trees, I wasn't concerned about the trees personally. I think. Yeah, I think, you know, given that you guys have already come back, I tend to use my. I am curious though. So these two lots are sort of you guys developing, and I'm assuming you're gonna build them together or want joint thing going on there. Did I hear talk of more lots next to it too? I'm not trying to shut down anything. I'm just curious what.
My plan is to do these two first together. Obviously, I don't have to explain the economies of scale of doing 2 houses at the same time versus 1 and 1.
Yeah,
After that's done, then I'm gonna get to the other 2 dirt lots, the plans there. And then all the corner stuff that you saw, I'll get to that later on too, with regards to that. So that's my plan. That's my plan. Again, honestly, along with this and some other things that are involved in downtown Half Moon Bay, this has taken up about as much bandwidth as I have. So I haven't really even gotten farther than that would be phase 2.
yeah.
When we get through this, then we'll start looking at, the other, I will say, the one dirt lot that is down Sonora from this, you guys probably don't recall, that is a commercial lot. That is zone commercial. So that will not be a single family home. That will be part of whatever I do with the rest of the corner that goes back towards Francisco. So there will not be a single family home in the lot that is next to lot 15. 16 is on the corner, 15, then there's a dirt lot. That is commercial. That will be a commercial of some sort. I have, that will, so, but that will not be single family homes because it's not zoned for them. I don't know if that makes any difference.
Next use, is it quite work for?
It's C1.
Yeah, C1. We talked a long time ago that there was, I tried to see if there's some ways they could change it. I got emails from Camille years ago that basically said the guy said we could never change it from commercial to single family. So, but I envision, yeah, something with that. I actually think that could be parking or something for that. So as far as visuals or whatever, it could be something very low. There won't be tall structures on that lot. That it again, but I haven't dug in it. So again, just so if you're asking about kind of what, like you're saying right now, it's gonna look weird going from dirt to a house. Of course it is. Any dirt that goes to a house looks weird.
Yeah.
That whole thing though, over time, once it's all done, it will all blend out. So
That's why.
yeah,
I'm just trying to get more context. Thank you.
no problem.
I just maybe a couple of things I wanted to just, I guess workshop that actually there is, so the rear elevation. That you meant on that stage sheets, SE 31.
Is it this one?
32. Yeah, it is. Oh, just, so that, I mean, that rear elevation there shows the full length of the property, and the property that you're building next to that is the same kind of general structure. In terms of the windows and how they sort of, you know, privacy, how they go into the neighbors, I think that distance is gonna be under 20-ish feet, so, any thoughts about the window placement? I know that there's,
Yeah, we did design that so that, there weren't privacy conflicts.
Cool.
Yeah.
okay, but, so and was that just the position of the windows or plantings or?
Mostly the position of the windows, which is, the primary concern.
And then also, it's on the previous comments, so also balance from town there's 4 per side of that kind of the elevations and it's like 2 side elevations. I think generally, we've talked to folks about well, 1 versus, but 2 around 4 entrance, so. Kind of get that, so I don't have a huge problem with that, but. Thoughts on the number of lights on those elevations.
I'm usually kind of picky about them, but I think this is nice to know. And the only person who's gonna suffer the window placement of this house is the other house you guys are building, so.
Right,
It's up to
exactly.
you.
So they can get, they can argue, or, I mean,
But yeah, I mean. I think that's all the comments I have.
No,
I guess, sorry, just thinking of one, on the renderings, it shows all the siding the same color. And the elevations, the upper floor in between the gable is white,
Correct.
which one's proposed?
I think he's got the other ones there.
again, before and after.
yeah, I think that there's a difference in color there, but it's
Correct.
not really that.
If you go to one of the other views, you'll see. But yes, between the 2 gables, there's a difference.
So just say, yeah, okay, that's nice. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so, I think we could circle back to, I think to me then, I didn't hear any significant, or any, conditions except for the tree, adding that one, I'm at this point kind of debating. The tree plant. I think the species selected are fine, so, we can circle back and, just overall apparent massing, let's go and have that conversation, or ask if the applicants would like us to take a vote.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to move on to the vote. If you know.
Okay. Yeah, we'll ask them if they want to take a vote, but yeah, as far as the conditions or recommendations, making, I didn't really hear, I don't have any.
Did you really wait into the one neighbor one? This one neighbor that turned them on.
Yeah, that's a good point, so.
Yeah, I think that's a great comment. I just think,
It doesn't necessarily make it better.
yeah,
It's a nice look, but just.
I think that given the gable edge and the gable face on the other proposed home, I think either way would be nice. If you guys want to go ahead and do that, that's fine, but I think you can leave it as is if you want to as well. I don't think it helps too much with the massing.
Yeah, I didn't feel strongly enough about it to make it a condition per se, or requirement to make this change. We could look at making it a recommendation. Or are you feeling?
That's how I'm feeling. Yeah, I guess the only thing that I'll mention is when you come into the other ones, just make sure there's some extra context. Because Make our job a lot easier. And
Posting a new policy
Actually, yeah.
that gives you a good example of what it should look like.
That would be great.
Yeah, things are changing.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's,
Yeah, I understand.
It
you.
should just be
I think we were
to be-
discussing it before we showed.
Yeah, exactly.
because this is,
Where's Twenty Homes?
Huh? Yeah, I know.
Thanks.
I just got done with an archaeological dig out there. They made me dig for artifacts that, yeah, and.
Did you find any?
No, of course not. We found a
not
seashell. Well, we found a seashell. And I had to do a 50-foot boring down to make sure like we weren't in a liquefaction zone. So, yeah, so I've just been kind of, it was, yeah. There's just, I'm telling you, it just doesn't end. It just doesn't end. So anyway, so that's it. So I apologize for being short-tempered on the story. But we're just kind of shocked. Okay. There's been a few things. This site has not been easy. There's just been so many, like, you know, the archaeology for the thing from Sonoma State. Now that they put that there, we had to do all that on all the sites. So that was just a, anyway.
you do it, so you're used to it.
No, not this. This is not.
Wow.
Isn't that
Why it
clever?
looks like- That's why it looks like it does here.
I'd actually, that would change, I'd like to make that a recommendation of a department. I just think it's, yeah, it's, you know, it's probably a step in the direction that would, be helpful for the area. It's not-
Sounds good. Building drawing.
Okay,
One thing I will just say too is if. I do feel like you guys addressed the comments that came in before. But when I was looking at the project, not knowing that earlier today. I think I would have recommended that you guys come back. And take that for what it's worth for the next time. Because I want to make sure you know that. And that's mostly to the demonstration of skill, which I think we described.
It's burned in my memory. We'll make sure it's in there, okay?
so would you like us to take a vote now?
Yes.
So I'd like to make a motion to recommend.
Recommend
My
approval.
brain isn't much at this point, but just that I'd like to make a motion to recommend the design review permit for this project. With no conditions and a recommendation of adding the hip roof per the example that's shown by the public.
Okay. Is there a second? Is there a
Yes.
second? Okay, then I'll do a roll call. Mark Dean,
Approved, yes.
motion reporter.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. And yeah, the next step is planning commission. And just for future reference, we just discussed our demonstration of scale. That's like updated, we added clarifications to it. We'll publish it, but in the meantime, you'll be able to find it from today's meeting page. Okay,
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
thank you very much. Okay, so that's the last item on the agenda. So does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion with
Second.
Second.
Okay, I'll do a roll call. Motion reporter, Mark Stackmeyer, Mark Dean,
Yep.
April Bingham. Okay, meeting adjourned. Okay, great. So.